Growl, growl, prowl, prowl. Hello, I am the Lion of Truth, and this is a personal message to Geoff Keighley. Now, Geoff, my friend, I have been watching you on TV and the internet since I was a kid, man. All the way back to G4, if you can believe it. And when I heard that you were going to be coming up with the Game Awards, your own video game show for Game of the Year, I loved it. You know, I was super excited. I think you announced it either 2012 or 2013. And then the first one was 2014, I believe. And I have been watching it religiously. Every year I look forward to it. As soon as it ends every year, I look forward to the announcement of the next one, the location, the date, everything. And yeah, you know, this message is just kind of feedback on how things are going, my personal feedback to you, advice that I would give, things you're doing well, things that can be improved on. And yeah. So we got some nice little Mario music here in the background to listen to. Probably get demonetized, but you know, hey, what's transformative media anyway, really? Anyway, so the Game Awards, I love it. I love what you're doing with it, man. You know, having the award show in December. If anything, I think maybe you should even push it back a little further, like mid-December, a little closer to Christmas. That way it truly feels like end of the year game awards conference where the companies can really take their time building the games and then get nominated. I love the stage, the atmosphere you do, you know, the light show. I love I think it was last year it was just a beautiful setup, beautiful stage. 2020 would be last year's. It's 2021 currently, November 6th as of the recording of this video. And just love it, man. Everything about it, you know, especially when it's in person, it's always the best. In person is always the best. You know, you got the crowd, live reactions right there. Anything can happen, you know, crazy things, good and bad, everything. You just got to take it for what it is. And I love that. You know, you never know what someone's going to say in their speech and all this stuff. It's just great. It's great. The surprises are great. You know, there's been maybe too much advertisements, I would say. You know, you do too much ads. And if you want to do ads, you can do them in a better way, a more subtle way, I think. And I think you should have things be quick, you know, things to be fast. If you're going to advertise something or even if you're going to show games, like whatever you're doing, have it be really fast. You know, that way even if it's bad, it's over quickly. So the pain is lessened. You know what I mean? Now, one thing I wanted to touch on was the Game of the Year and all of the awards themselves. I believe that you can do better, you can improve the way they are selected and the way they are voted upon. And it's a balancing act, I understand. However, I believe there should be literally two separate, if you want to do three, that's fine, but at least two separate categories altogether. You should have the critics on one side and the fans on another side, just kind of like how Metacritic does it, you know. And then if you want to do a third one, put them all together, that's fine too. But at least I think you should have two separate categories for everything. For Game of the Year, best art direction, best action game, role-playing game, indie game, everything. Have the critics list and then the fans list, you know. And this is really simple. I think this is how you can literally please everybody. It kind of makes me mad when people say you can't please everyone, because you can. You just have to think of the problem and break it down in an analytical way, and you can really come up with a solution to please everybody. See, the fans get upset when the game, you know, they wanted isn't picked, and then the critics will get upset if the game that they're promoting or, you know, sponsoring or whatever, money's involved, right? That one's not on the list. So you should have both, right? Let the fans be separate from the critics, because let's be honest, we are different groups of people. We are different entities altogether. We have different motivations, different likes, different desires. So it should be really simple, Geoff. Like, just have a blank piece of paper, just like a little type-in box, a little box on your website, and say, have each category, and then let people type in any game they want. That's it. You know? If it came out that year, they should be able to type it in. It should show up right on the list. And it's that simple. You know, let people type in whatever game they want, and you might be surprised what it is. Let the critics do that as well. And I really think that's how you should narrow it down, you know? And then you can have lists. Like, you can have this ongoing throughout the year. It doesn't have to be just in November. You can have it started in January, you know? What do people predict is going to be game of the year? And they can change their things. But by the end of it all, you know, you got to have your set date of the cutoff, right? November 15th, I believe, is normally your go-to. I really think you could push that back closer to Thanksgiving, you know, Black Friday. I think you could do that and then have those extra couple weeks. And if you move the Game Awards back a week to December 15th, roughly, you know, have it be right before Christmas, but have the cutoff would be around Thanksgiving. That way you guys can all go through the numbers. You and your team can go through all the numbers, tally up everything, get everything nice, you know, nice looking, and then practice for at least a week straight. I believe that with presentations, 3 times the charm. If you're going to give a presentation, practicing it 3 times running through, I think, is the sweet spot. Any more than that, you know, it gets redundant. Any less, I don't know if you covered all your bases personally. Like I said, this is all just feedback for you, man. You can take it as it is. I mean, you might have deleted this video and not even been watching to this point, but I hope you are. So yeah, just have the fans and the critics be completely separate, man. Do not intermingle them, because then everybody on both sides feels shafted when the outcome is not what they hoped. At least we should be able to see it. You know, we should be able to see. There has been 367,000 votes and 949 votes for a certain game. Like, you should be able to tell exactly the number of how many people voted for a game. You know, and you could have a history, right? Like, let us create profile pages on the Game Awards website, and then you can keep track of our history throughout time. I'm thinking really far into the future, man, and I hope you do too, because this is just the beginning. This is going to be bigger than the Oscars, my friend. Games are going to be bigger than everything. They are. They're the future of entertainment. I truly believe that with my heart and soul. So then you can keep track. You can say, you know, what did Lion vote for in 2023 for Best Action Game? What was his vote? And we should be able to go back and see exactly what I voted for, you know? You don't need to hide all the data. Show it to us. Show us. What are the games people are playing? What are they voting for? What are they typing in? You know? Obviously, if they're typing in games that are from previous years, that has to just be crossed off, right? Like if someone said Super Smash Bros. Melee or Zelda Ocarina of Time, you know, you can't take that into account. That vote needs to not get counted. It has to be from that current year. Yeah, so I don't know, man. Keep the votes separate, and like I said, you can have a third column if you want. It's more work to do it that way, but you can have a third one where you can say, okay, now what's the combined consensus? The overall, you can have the game of the year for the fans, the game of the year for the critics, and then the combined game of the year. It has to be 50-50 with that, right? You got to have everything be 50-50 if you're going to combine them. The fans' weight should be just as much as the critics, right? But then the fans should have their own category where there are no critics involved. It's just the fans' vote. What do they vote for? You know, the people that just purchase the games and play them. And then you just have the critics vote. What is their vote? I'm telling you, man, I really think you should do this. This would broaden your reach. This would boost your truthfulness and honesty. You know, and people would know that there's no hidden motives here. They say, okay, yeah, the critics voted for this one, but look what the fans voted for. You know, and I bet you they would probably be different most of the time. I don't think they'd be congruent, but maybe they would. You know, like you put them all together, maybe they would. So that's for the Game Awards, and in December, I'm trying to think if there's anything else, man. Keep it up. Like, the music is great. I think you should get feedback on the music you do before you do it. You don't need to tell us the results of that. That is hidden data you can keep from us, because everybody likes surprises, you know? You can say, okay, these are the bands I'm looking at, guys. This is the type of music I'm looking at for this year, the Game Awards. What do you guys think? And you can tell us this in, like, you know, June. You can tell us this 6 months before, July. And then have the fans vote. Have the people who are going to watch it vote. Because, Jeff, if you do what the people want, they'll keep coming, right? Like, you gotta include us in your thought process and not just do it in a vacuum like most companies do. That's why a lot of companies are dying or not growing as fast as they could be, because they don't take the fans' opinions into account. The people that actually pay, you know, for the product, like, you don't take their opinions into account. What do you expect's going to happen? So, yeah. You know, I would ask the fans about what type of music, you know, what kind of advertisements. Just include the fans on your thought process on what you want to do. You could do polls, man, on Twitter, like YouTube, anything. You got platforms to do this stuff. I would take full advantage of it if I was you. You know, Do a lot of polls, do a lot of surveys, get feedback from the fans. I cannot stress that enough, how critical it is. It's going to reshape gaming and reshape the world as we know it in the future, I promise you. So really take our opinions into account. I don't think you're going to regret it, man. So yeah, I like the structure, you know, how you go up on stage, all that's good. The music, how you take a little break for the music. Keep the songs shorter. I think you should keep them shorter, maybe 2 minutes per song. You know, people's attention span, Jeff, it's going downhill. You know this, like with Snapchat and social media and everything, everyone's attention span is going down, so you want to keep things condensed. The only things you should spend lots of time on, in my opinion, are like the big awards or big announcements, like new Halos, new Zeldas, Half-Lives, Dead Space. You should know the AAA games, a new Kojima game, these new games that you know are gonna be talked about. Elden Ring. You can dedicate, 3, 4, even 5 minutes to those types of things. I wouldn't have anything, no matter how big of an announcement, Jeff, no matter how crazy. I don't think you should spend more than 5 minutes of anything. 5 minutes of the Game Awards on the show, on any game, any interview, any media at all. 5 minutes maximum, man. I think you need to have a max of 5 minutes. And minimum, you could have a minimum of like 3 seconds. Think about how much advertising you can do, how many video games you can include if you're doing little montages of things coming up. And some of them, most of them, not even some, most of them are going to be indie games. We know this. So just have little 3-second clip, man. 5-second clip. Just have a clip of like a really cool part of the game or a cool little musical note, and let the people watch it. A little montage of, a 3-minute video. You can fit 30 games, 50 games in there, man. And each one of them will pay you revenue just to be part of it. I promise you. And it'll work out great. So yeah, shorten things down. Keep the Game Awards long. I think 2 hours is a good sweet spot. 3 hours even. You want to tell the people what they're in for. Let us know how long the Game Awards is going to be each year. Some years might be longer than others. It would really be good, in my opinion, I think, if you could just actually narrow it down, get it down to 3 hours or less, and then keep it under that. That way everyone always knows the maximum time that it's going to be, but you should also have a minimum time. I don't think anything less than 2 hours, like 2 to 3 hours, I think is a sweet spot. Anything in there is great. 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 45 minutes, up to 3 hours. I think after 3 hours, people would really be, itching to go home and stuff. So I think 3 hours should be the absolute max that you would have a award show. But, anything less than 2 hours, I think, is like just not enough. Not enough content, not enough time to hang out, not enough time for people to soak in the magic. I think 2 to 3 hours is perfect, anywhere in there. 2.5 hours, Personally, for me, I'd probably shoot for 3 hours, because, hey, what's 3 hours out of a whole year, right? It's nothing. So I would, personally, if Lion was running the show, it would be 3 freaking hours every time. I would have it jam-packed with content, beautiful things, music, guest appearances, to announce things, because you just don't want guests to show up, right? You want them to be doing something, to announce something, a new project, whatever, and put things down the road, announcements for future, way down the road projects. I don't know if you guys did Pragmata. I don't know if that was Game Awards or E3, whoever did Pragmata. I love that, because that was like in 2020 or 2019. I think it was 2020, and it was for a 2022 game, which I promise you will probably be a 2023 game. We haven't heard anything. I love that. I love seeing trailers, little snippets of things coming way down the line, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now even. Just let us know that the game is in development. I really think you could blow the awards out of the water if you have some future content teases for the fans. I think that's a great way to be. So yeah, man. One thing I will say is, another thing I will say is, you are like the face of video games. I don't know if you know this or not, Jeff, but you have great power. And with great power, as we all know, comes great responsibility. Everything you do, say, think, everything is so important to gaming, the history, to the influence, the media influence. You're very powerful in this space, man, and I'm not sure you realize just how important that is going forward. It's only going to increase. It makes me really sad that you've pretty much abandoned E3, man. I truly believe you should get back there instead of trying to do your own separate thing with the Summer Game Fest or whatever it is. I really think you should team up with E3. You can still do your little Game Fest, but do it with E3, man, because E3 has been a staple for my whole life, for a lot of people's whole lives. the Electronic Entertainment Expo. It's amazing. You know, just because they make a mistake, man, you don't just abandon somebody that's been there for decades because they make a mistake. You know, that's not good friendship. That's not loyalty. I really don't think you should have done that. I think you should say, you know what, E3, they messed up. I want to help them do better. Step up to the plate, Jeff. Step up and say, you know what, I'm going to help E3 become the greatest show in the summer that we've ever seen. And it'll lead into your, you know, Game Fest, which will continue on throughout the summer. That's fine. But don't just abandon E3. And like everyone, I don't like the negativity I see online about E3. Because it's so awesome. It's just like the Game Awards and E3 are like the Super Bowls, you know, that we get twice a year as gamers. It's like the 2 times a year. Yeah, there's GDC and a couple other things. I don't consider any of that anywhere close. And the internet doesn't either, to my understanding. Nobody considers those things anywhere near as important as the Game Awards and E3. Those are the 2 bangers, the 2 heavy hitters that we have. And they're set perfectly in the year, my friend. 6 months apart. You got one in the summer, one in the winter. It is perfection. Literally perfection, what you have. You got a recipe for perfection. You just need to add to it, and you need to embrace it. And I think you can really make the summer just as good. Almost just as good as the Game of the Year award show in December. I don't know if it'll ever be as good because it's the awards, right? It's like, what's the best that year? It's just so awesome. I love when December is rolling around. I'm so excited for it, man. I cannot wait to watch it this year. Every year I get so stoked. What's happening? Who's going to be on the list? I try to predict who's going to be on the list every year, you know. Who's going to win. You know, I think this year Resident Evil 8, Ratchet & Clank, maybe Returnal, maybe Far Cry 6, Deathloop, I don't know. But I really hope as long as Resident Evil 8 and Ratchet & Clank are on the list, I'll be a happy lion. I truly believe those games deserve to be on the list. I don't know who's going to win, but yeah, that's just my opinion. Yeah, it's just a fun thing, man. People talk about it. Gamers talk about what's coming at E3, what might be coming next year. You know, when are we going to see this game? When are we going to see that game? It's just a whole community type thing. And I hope, I implore you to reevaluate and look at these things on how you can include the fans with E3, with the Game Fest, with the Game Awards show, everything, man. And be more, you know, be more proactive, interacting with the fans and asking us questions, taking polls. You will get invaluable, like super valuable data from doing that. I promise you, man. I promise you. So yeah, keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing and keep improving. You know, you want to announce things. I think you should announce things a little sooner. Like, give fans time to get excited for things. You know, what day is it? What time? How long is the show going to be? Just give details. Continue to interact and communicate with us, the fans. And we'll support you forever, man. I will support you my whole life. Another thing, yes, before I end, was I truly also believe, man, you need to support quality products, AAA products. You're in a very particular situation because you're part businessman and part gamer. You got to balance that line, my friend, of not endorsing trash and garbage just because you know it's going to give you a paycheck. You got to be honorable and hold your character to high regard. You know, Fortnite and these games that are like predatory, and you know it deep down in your heart. Like, these things are free to play. It sounds good on the surface, but man, once you get inside, you got monetization out the kazoo. You know, microtransactions, loot boxes. It is terrible for humanity, terrible for little children to be spending their parents' money like that, and you know it. So I don't think you should be endorsing that kind of stuff, man. You should be endorsing quality AAA games and indie games that do not have microtransactions, that do not have loot boxes, that are consumer friendly, that support the fans, that respect the fans' time and respect the fans' money. And you've been a gamer long enough, Jeff. You know better, man. You know better, my friend. You know what games are garbage and what games are quality. It doesn't take a genius to see it, man. But honestly, the little kids, they don't understand. They're going to play what's streaming. They're going to play what's on Twitch. They're going to play what's free. They're going to play what all their friends are playing. And if that is pushed by the media, these types of games, then guess what the kids are going to end up doing? Playing those crappy games. You know this, I know this, and the media knows this. So I implore you, I beg you, really, to support AAA solid games and ethical business practices, man. None of this, you know, with these microtransactions and loot boxes, just getting people addicted, getting their brains addicted and hardwiring them to just have that next dopamine rush. That's not right, man. That's not ethical, especially since they're children, dude. Like, they're like, you're getting them addicted to gambling, essentially, and that is no good. You have enough money, man, and if you follow my advice, I promise you will make more money than you could ever dream of, but you can do it in an ethical way. You can become a multi-millionaire, billionaire, Jeff, in an ethical way. You don't need to be sleazy, you don't need to be sneaky about it. You can be honest, upfront, and you can sleep better at night, you know? So, yeah, please don't support, you know, predatory games and practices. Call them out, too. You have the power, my friend. Tweet at them. Make YouTube videos, Instagram. You gotta call people out when you see companies, freaking Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red, when you see companies pulling bullshit, you need to call them out. Make them better. That's the only way things are gonna change in the future, my friend, is social behavior, social norms. That's the only way things are gonna change, ever, with anything. Video games, movies, media, music, laws, you name it. The only way things will change is because of social behavior, social norms, how people conduct themselves, how they treat one another. So when you see your favorite companies, people's favorite companies, abandoning their fans, Nintendo taking down fan-made things and products, like, you need to literally reach out to those companies and call them out. You don't need to be a jerk. You don't need to be an asshole. You know, you don't need to be mean and toxic and whatever people say. You can just say, look, guys, you have these great IPs, these great products. Let's do right by the fans. Let's make high quality games, and the fans will come. The fans will support you forever. Forever they will support you. Not only will you make lots of money, but you'll have the fans' undying love and loyalty forever, so they will buy whatever you create. You know? You need to call these companies out, because a little guy like me, a little lion, no one's going to listen to me, even if I'm speaking pure truth. No one's going to listen. It has to be someone in a position of power, and that's you, Jeff. You're the guy. You gotta be the messenger, man. You gotta be the guy to support things, give thumbs up on things when you know they're good, and give a thumbs down on things when you know it's garbage, you know it's trash, and you know it's not ethical, it's not right. With great power comes great responsibility, my friend. You're doing a great job. I believe you can do better. Keep it up. Keep improving. I cannot wait for the Game Awards 2021. I'll see you there. I'll be online. I'll be rooting for you. Yeah. All right. Take care.